Hey everybody, welcome to Talk, Teach, Play. My name is Aaron Locks. I am the founder and CEO of the National Academy of Athletics, and I'm excited to talk to you today, once again, bringing you the chat, everything youth sports. But our topic today is basically the best methods for coaching or teaching children. And I'm very blessed to have VJ Stanley with us today. Hey, VJ.
Aaron, thanks for having us.
You know, with Balance Excellence, and you and I have had long conversations and gone through a lot of stuff that we've worked together on. I kind of wanted to let you kind of give a little bit of your background so they can kind of see where it comes from. Because I think when they hear you're an old hockey coach, they're going to go, oh, geez, what is this guy bringing? But they might be surprised when you actually open your mouth and give them some loving, wonderful details. So can you share with them a little bit?
Well, I've been coaching since 1974. I am the youngest coach in the history of high school hockey. I was a recruited Division I athlete, played one game at Clarkson, but I've coached multiple sports, well over 20 years. I've been on 2 youth boards. I've written 3 books. I've spoken with doctors, the national, a huge AOSSM, the association, U.S. soccer, U.S. lacrosse, U.S. hockey, and what we're talking about is that it's a universal thing and not a sports specific thing, right, which is why we say multiple sports.
Got it. So I think it's important that the audience, I mean, obviously when I've been chatting with a lot of different people, by the way, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can keep getting the information. And please, thank you for those of you that have been sending questions in. I will have a few questions I'll be asking you, VJ, that did come through specifically on this topic. So I think it's great. So, you know, what we're trying to build here is an opportunity for parents and youth coaches, especially the volunteer ones that are just trying to figure it out. You know, what's the best methods here? Because I do think at times we've kind of gone away from really what we think is important. And again, we'll get to dig into more of that in a minute. But let's just start with where do you think when you, in your experience, you know, coaching as long as you have, when should parents start getting their kids involved in sports and team sports or in sports in general? What do you think?
We don't even do it that way. What we say is your child at 2 or 3 should start to play, start to move and enjoy movement.
Right.
Experience the ball. Like we have in our family, Clayton, my son, we think he came out of the womb with a ball.
Right.
But have them, like I hear parents say, well, my son played baseball since he was 3. My son was dribbled 2 basketballs since he was 6. I was on a radio show. My son threw a ball at 5, a football over my head. And again, this is a little plug for what we do, but I was on WFAN in New York City and WFAN in Toronto, the 2 biggest talk sports radio stations in Canada and the United States. And I said, we've got to get away from when do we get into sports, right, to how do we make movement great? How do we make movement be the primary thing? Then what you and I talk about all the time, and it's up above your 366, then we go to play.
Right.
And so it's, again, that's what balance is. Nobody ever says, oh, I lost my specialization. You know, I lost my balance. So what we want is the kids to motivate the parent in terms of watching their journey, not vice versa.
So, you know, my belief is the kid's body is an all-terrain vehicle and they need to learn how to drive it. And what happens sometimes is that all of a sudden I'm a basketball guy, so I just focus on basketball with my kid and not realizing that baseball and football and hockey and golf and whatever it is, other things are so important because they get to use their body across the board. But what you're saying, I think, is interesting because really what you're saying is introduce them just to a ball and throwing and catching and hand-eye coordination, other things. Not that you're teaching them, but just let them experience it, right?
Yes, but even one step again backwards, okay, is that just hand them the ball and not put it in their hands, put it on the floor, put a stick on the floor. Yeah. Put, as much as I don't want to get you in trouble, Legos.
Yeah.
Because the parents will step on them.
Oh yeah, oh no, we've done that, trust me, I remember that. Especially in the middle of the night, that's a guaranteed, right?
But what we're saying is, even before that, let's get them to understand their own journey. And again, they're 2 and 3, so this isn't a big psychological thing, but right, if he or she picks up a ball today and then she picks up the stick tomorrow, great. But if I keep introducing the ball to them, they are going to do that ball thing, I call it. I don't want to say it's anything other than that,
Right.
to please the adult.
Okay.
And that's what
Right,
we
'cause
want to
we
get
all-
away from.
Right. And without getting too deep in it, you're right. Okay. So now as they get to, let's 2 or 3, or let's say they're 4 and 5, because this is what drives me nuts. I'm seeing leagues, like full on leagues at 4 and 5 years old, where they're competing and they got to run around and this and that. And they got to, it's tough to hit a ball. I don't care if it's on a tee or whatever the sport is. So, but on the other hand, I got parents who are saying, I don't want my kid to fall behind. BJ, I don't want my kids to fall behind. So what do you tell them? What do we tell the parents?
2 things, because it's a 2-part question. 1, I was called in on a youth football team, and I promise you it's true. A 5-year-old all-star flag football team on how many games they should play.
Wait,
Travel.
5-year-old all-star team?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Lord. Okay. All right.
You can't make this. It's an old saying, but you can't make this stuff up.
Wow.
And they wanted to know how many games they thought was good for that, and then how they should go about tryouts. So of course, I let them go on their way.
Yeah.
But to the second part of your question, which is the key to it, is that what we really want to do is get back to the basics.
Okay.
And the basics for a child is chaos. So stop trying to organize it. Stop trying to get it to go. It will happen naturally. Now, our company is based on 3 premises: science, psychology, and data. You know that.
Right.
The data is only 10% of all the kids that are advanced, that's the word I'm going to use, at 10 are the best at 18. Puberty changes everything. Less than 10% of the kids pre-puberty, again, are the best at 18.
Right.
So what people are being, and I understand following in line, I get that. But what the people aren't being told is there is no line. There is no race.
Right.
So what we're saying is we get these kids active and liking stuff, and then 14, 15, and 16, they start to blossom. And we can prove this with multiple professional athletes.
Right. Well, and I know in over in Europe, I've seen a lot of it too, where they've literally had the kids do all different kinds of stuff. They don't keep score, all these different factors. And then when it gets to a certain age, maybe it's 13, 14, whatever it is, because mentally they're prepared and they've kind of got an aptitude and, like you say, puberty and all the other factors, then they start to funnel them into certain areas where they may want to go. But it's really all based on one word. So when I start, what are the best methods for teaching? Really what you're saying is stop worrying about teaching and just let them play.
Yes.
Right? So
yes, that's it.
Let them play. That's it. We're done. All right, interview over. We hit a home run. That's it, parents. Okay, so if that's the case, because I agree.
Let me give you one more piece of data quickly.
Please do. Yeah.
Sweden is less than 0.5% behind Canada per capita for putting players in the NHL. Think of the size of the 2 countries.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they cut no one under 17. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, again, it's because it truly is for the love of the game, right? Okay. So as we go
love of play, let's stay with play.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if you're getting kids involved, because to me, what I've always done is I've always made a rule to myself was 2 things. One, and tell me if I'm doing right or wrong. One is when my kids were young, I'd say, do you want to play this? When it was time, because we got to sign up, you're 9, it's time to play, whatever. Do you want to play this? Yes. Okay. Second thing I did was I said, why? My daughter, right? My son was a baseball player, one of his sports. His mom was a big time softball player. So I said, all right, what's your why? Why do you want to play? You know what she said? What do you think the reason? She said she wanted the matching uniform. And that's
the
cool.
Outfit.
The outfit. She won the outfit. So we got her the outfit, and then she ended up being pretty good, which is fun. But again, we found her why. So do you want to do this? What's your why? And then one thing I did, which again, maybe I didn't right, let me know, is I always got them to some sort of instruction before they went to play in the season. Let me tell you why. because I felt it was important if they had some understanding of the game, understanding of the rules, understanding of how to hold the bat, where to run, etc. They at least would have a chance to be more comfortable. Because here's my fear, and I see it a lot. Hey, let's sign them up for a sport. So now we sign up for a sport. They get 3 one-hour practices, which is all supposed to be fun. And then they go to the game, and all of a sudden they're keeping score. They're making rules. You got to know where to go. And all of a sudden the pressure's on, and that becomes a negative, over-stimulating experience. My kids did very well playing lots of sports all the way through school. And the reason was, I believe, is that this whole method that I use. So did I do okay? What do you think?
Yeah, it's fine, but
Go ahead. There's no but. Tell me where, slap me on the wrist. Where should I go next? What are we doing?
no, it's not a slap on the wrist.
Okay.
It's, if you don't do that, don't think that you can't have a great experience. In other words, we're trying way too hard to make it cookie cutter.
Okay.
If we do A, then we're going to fit the piece into B. It'll be better for C. Well, childhood is messy and chaotic. It's one of my, I was the neighborhood babysitter, loved it. I'd come home from hockey practice and babysit, because these kids, and my wife, my wonderful wife, 33 years, was a special ed elementary teacher. And I would go in every year, twice a year, to watch her. And she's like a Pied Piper. And so yes, the instruction is good, but if they pull back from it, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Let them do something else. What we're really missing, and what's desperately missing, is that the fact that with all this technology, all these open fields, all these ways to communicate, the ability and desire to have pickup games be a preeminent
so much agree.
part of a childhood is now been devalued, and it's been devalued because there's no money in it. It's not devalued because it doesn't work.
Well, let me ask you a question about that, because I know for me, I grew up in a neighborhood where you watch the Sandlot. That was us. You know what I mean? 60s and 70s, we all would meet and we would play until we lost the ball or whatever, the street light came on, and we went home. That's what we did, right? But and I can remember playing on the street and getting in trouble because it was Mr. Johnson's Lincoln was one end zone, and God forbid you put a hand on that one time, then we get in trouble for doing that, right? But what did we all yell? You talk about the time. It was this is how we call timeout. Car, because you knew a car was coming, right? That's what we did. But kids aren't doing that, man. And so the excuse I hear a lot is it's not safe to let the kids go out and do that, right? Now, again, it depends on your neighborhood. But I also know, as we talked earlier, and one of the other shows we had this conversation about, it's a $5 billion industry. So this has become big business, right?
If you read my 3rd book, Does Your Mind Mind What You're Doing with Your Body?
Say it again so these guys get it.
Pardon me?
Say it again so these guys get it on here.
Oh, Does Your Mind Mind What You're Doing to Your Body? It's only a 50, 60-page ebook, easy reading. The data, again, we're always science, psychology, and data. Science instead of tradition, psychology instead of force, data because it's real. Less kids are getting hurt now than ever. When the young boy got, and I'm sorry to turn this dark, but it's something your people really need to hear, is when that young boy in New York City went out to play to the playground that his mom left and got kidnapped by the guy down the street, and it made the national headlines, turned everything into fear. Right. And then the playgrounds became dangerous. Now we couldn't have even dirt on them. We had to have rubber pads and all this stuff. But the data does not support this. Right. And what we do at Balance Excellence is we walk people through this. And if you go through the continuum, nobody is staying with these people en masse so that they have this kind of support throughout their childhood's development.
There's no doubt in my mind that I was made as an athlete and as a person on the playground as much, if not more so, than school or anywhere else. The life lessons that we learned, I mean, right? We decide we're going to play a game, and guess what? You pick first, I get the next 2, right? Or whatever it is. Right field's closed. Pitcher's mound is good as first. If we told kids, this is what drives me nuts, even here in California, if I took 9 kids and put them on a field and said, okay, here's 4 bats, 4 balls, 4 bases, 4 gloves, play a game, a lot of them would go, wait a second, we don't have enough equipment. Where's the coach? Where's the other team? Where's the snack bar, for God's sake, right? Like, what is going on? Instead of dividing up, making teams, and figuring out how to play. Pitcher's mound's as good as first, right? I mean, we just figured out. And you know what I think? The lessons that we learn through playing those games, mostly through failure and then learning to succeed, right? Isn't that the value you're talking about?
Right. And that is why it's been legislated out. And this is one of the things that people are not being told, is that I want you to have a specific coach. I want you to have a specific trainer. I want you to have a specific strength and conditioning. All the things that would happen when you and I are playing out have now been extracted away. And the phones, listen, I'm not anti-phone,
Right.
but the phones are not smartphones, they're answer phones. And these children are in a position where their minds can absorb so much knowledge, and instead of knowledge, we're giving them answers.
And they're not working for it. So again,
That's knowledge. You got to work for knowledge.
Yeah, they know.
Knowledge doesn't come from an answer. If I give you a smartphone and I give you 100 questions, you can answer it.
Right.
So then you become dependent on that. Again, my 3rd book explains that.
Yeah.
And so what we're taking away is the very thing that the children need. I just had this conversation. I was interviewed in England yesterday. We have to get back to the fact that childhood is chaos,
right,
and messy.
And if we're being honest, really childhood, and that's what I love about sports so much. Child is actually about, and playing sports is about failure, which then leads you to learn, I don't want to do that anymore, or I do, and how to get back up, because that's what's missing, right? Is the ability to figure things out on their own and the ability to create, adapt, overcome, and move forward. Isn't that a big piece of this?
Yeah, the late great Dean Martin had one of the funniest sayings I've ever heard. I keep trying to make good decisions, and the only way I can make good decisions is through experience, and the only way I can get experience is through bad decisions. So we're taking it. Everybody likes the word process now. I have a hard time with that, because that seems to me we're manufacturing something. We always use journey, and so we're taking away purposely, but not on purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Taking away the value of the journey. And from our time together in the last decade, I'm surprised you're surprised. How did you people think this was going to turn out?
Right.
Really? This has to be the outcome. If you take away the creativity, if you take away the late bloomer, if you take away the ability to do all these different things, then they're going to be specialized. And when you specialize, you have an inherent fear of being closed-minded, narrow-sighted.
On one of our Talk Teach Play episodes not too long ago, I was having a conversation with Michael Stone. He played 7 seasons in the NFL. And we had this great dialogue. And it turned out he didn't even play football till he was 12. He's an NFL player, didn't basically touch a football till he's 12, and spent 2 years on the bench just learning the game. It wasn't until he hit high school and all of a sudden he was bigger, stronger, faster, and a heck of an athlete. And then he truly understood it. And then boom, there he goes. And then he plays 7 seasons in the NFL. So I get it. So really then, okay, let's get back to as a parent. So if I'm talking about a parent now, and I've got a child, what if my child, let's say they're athletic and they're interested. I've got some questions here that I'll ask you in a second, but what if they are interested? How do you want to introduce it to them? How do you want to bring that out in there? If they are, hey, Dad, I want to play. I'm 9 years old. Everybody's playing soccer. I want to play.
Absolutely, play soccer. But then I want to ask the parent this question, and I speak all over the country. You know that,
right?
I ask the parents this question: when your child goes to school, does he learn one subject all day, every day? When he gets to high school, when he gets to, or she gets to college, even when you get a master's in education, like I have, you still are learning different things. So the balance, again, what we do, balance excellence, I tell the parent, what you need more than anything is an outside objective source that you can trust. And again, there's a huge difference between trust and respect. You want this trust of somebody who is outside of your zone, outside of this, that you can get information from and trust that it's going to be accurate. And the accurate, 5 of the top NFL tight ends, none of them played football in high school or till they were 14. Graham counts at Miami rebounding for his success. Tony Fernandez. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Right. Yeah.
Ohio State 2 years ago. Now I haven't got the last recruiting thing. Out of their 45 scholarships, and you and I really need to have a discussion about scholarships for the parent, because that I think is a game changer. Out of their 45, and again, it's a head count sport, 45 scholarships, 42 were multi-sport athletes.
You know, Scott Matson from a recruit, he helps kids understand the process, and then that he came in and helped us out. We did one. In fact, make sure you subscribe or look back through this if you're looking for this, because you'll find that. And he talked about that same thing. If you're a college coach and you're recruiting, one of the things you're gonna be looking at is saying, okay, what sports have they played? Where all the different facets going forward is so important. I know that after I did a little work with the San Francisco Giants, I was in their TV commercials, and I remember talking to a lot of the players, and a lot of them, they all played multiple sports, you know. And it's interesting, again, going back to the theory of the all-terrain vehicle is the body. All right, so now if I'm a parent and I'm being asked to coach, VJ, what do I do? Okay, I signed my son up for a baseball league, and they need parent volunteers because no one else will coach. What do you suggest?
Absolutely. But again, you've got to have an outside trusted source who's not trying to make this thing this thing. What you want is someone, a book, a something. But again, it's so important, Aaron, that they have someone that can stay with them through the incubation process. They have someone that they can trust to talk to. And I'll give your audience a free one here. Every single youth coach out there, his warm-up or her warm-up for practice should be Simon Says or dancing. Every single thing that you need in your sport is in those 2 things.
Movement and fun, listening to the coach. What do you got, right? Is that what it's about?
And the other thing is what we do with the 10 and unders, and we tell the coach this up front when we go to the organizations and we run a practice for them. You need to understand that the last Simon Says command we're going to give is go tackle. Simon Says go tackle the coach. And you have 30 seconds. And that's it. At 30 seconds, you must let them tackle you. But in that 30 seconds, you can play I call it human dodgeball. You're teaching them every single sport activity that they need except throwing.
Right. Yeah.
And throwing's an unnatural motion.
Well, you know, it's funny. So, you know, when I look at the camps we run through the National Academy of Athletics and teaching the kids using our talk, teach, play system, it really does use what you're talking about. And whether it's structured exactly the same way, but the gist of it is allowing the kids to have fun, because when we ask the parents what they want from the sport, a lot of them are, whether it's college scholarships, and we'll get into that on another channel, another chat. But let's whittle it down. I got a question that has come in. I got 3 of them for you.
Go.
So, excuse me. So a parent says, my 9-year-old wants to play soccer, but she's not very athletic, and I'm worried about that. What do I do?
Well,
she's from Seattle. And she said, you know, what do I do? I got a 9-year-old daughter. She's not very athletic, but her friends are playing soccer. She wants to play. What do I do?
There's no such thing as a 9-year-old athlete. So I'm going to tell you, ma'am, you can relax right now. There's nobody. They're all terrible. Some are just less terrible than others. There's nobody recruiting 9-year-olds from a college Division I team. 2, dance. Simon Says play. You don't have to kick the ball around in your backyard. You just need movement. Just for a 9-year-old, just because they're so interested in pleasing the adult, okay, and making sure, and this goes to from birth and all this psychology thing. But they're so dependent on adults and so trying to please them that she wants to play with her friends. Let her play with her friends. So can you help her kick a ball better at a 9-year-old? Of course not. You can help her dance. You can help her do Simon Says. You can help her run around and play tag. You can do all these things, and she will get better.
You know,
Because you have fun.
one thing that I remember that helped me, which is interesting thinking back at my mom, because she said she was a good runner. Okay, great, mom. You know, but I remember that when she would walk us down to Tam Valley School, she would rebound the ball for me when I was shooting, but she wouldn't coach me. She wouldn't try to teach me. All she did is just pass the ball back to me. And it was interesting as I think about it, it's some of my best one-on-one memories with my mom, right?
That's the whole point. We're so interested in teaching versus learning. Let them learn. Let them gain knowledge. Let them fail. Let them experience this thing. 6-1, because of the way the brain synapses fires,
Yeah.
you should say 6 positive things to your child for every 1 negative, without exception. That's a scientific.
So when you're doing directions and corrections, because you want to, you know, at the National Academy of Athletics, we talk about creating confidence, optimism, and personal growth. And through doing that, like you said, it's all positive reinforcement. And when you say, okay, let's try this, instead of, no, you're not doing it right, we're basically saying, hey, let's try this. And so we're kind of guiding them through that process. I like that. All right, another question.
Hold on. When she does the dance and the Simon Says, though, Aaron, she's actually getting better at soccer without feeling the pressure to get better at soccer.
Okay.
And now she's getting better at life.
We're going to have people reach out. I guarantee they're coming for me. So we're going to have to get them some videos or some, so they can kind of see, because I agree with you. Again, it goes back to just playing free. I mean, I tell everybody, playing tag is one of the best things kids can do. We do ball tag and all kind of versions of that at camp, because we want the kids, because obviously learning to control your body and move and bend and all those type of things are so important. So good. Things I can't do as much as I used to. All right. San Diego, my son is gung-ho about playing baseball. He wants to do it year round, but again, he's only 10 years old. I'm trying to get him to do other things. What do I do? His buddies are starting to plan a travel team.
Okay. First of all, I like ice cream a lot. You know that. We have a special place here. People email me when they come to town because there's 10 franchises. They don't pay me, so I don't mention their name. I can't eat it every day. It's not healthy. So I asked this person, what's your favorite food?
Me, it's steak. I'm a steak eater.
Okay. So for this, say this person's favorite food is steak. You're not going to eat steak every day.
Right.
10-year-olds change their mind hourly with what they want to do. The reason they want to do this is because their friends are doing it.
Right.
These friends that they have are not going to necessarily be their friends 10 years from now. So we've got to think in the future. Again, everything is specialization in now. And when we say at Balanced Excellence, that's not balance. And if it's not contributing to balance, it's not going to be good for your child long term. So we say he's going to play baseball, wants to play baseball every day. First of all, you're the parent, so you need to take charge because it's not healthy for him. Right. You can go to our website and our YouTube channels, and all these pediatricians will tell you. But more importantly, give me, Aaron, now you as the host, give me 3 things you can do outside of baseball that make you good at baseball.
In terms of like playing, well, if you,
right.
Yeah, if you play.
And we haven't rehearsed this, people.
Right. So if you're throwing a football back and forth, it's going to help you with your baseball, right?
1.
Any kind of running or playing tag or games or anything like that.
2.
Good. And I would say, I'm trying to think of something that would help with batting, something with hand-eye coordination. I don't know what that would be, but maybe something with hand-eye coordination.
Throwing a Frisbee.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
So we have the answers, but we're being programmed to think this way because it fits the channel. It makes you stay in line. And what we're saying is, no, the data doesn't support it. The science doesn't support it. The psychology doesn't support it. Only the money supports it.
So, my answer, would be if your son wants to do it, I make sure, because I think what we got to do is it's the trade-off. It's like you said, okay, ice cream, you want ice cream for dessert. We're not going to have ice cream for breakfast, right? We got to find when's the right time to healthily do it. I do like the concept of allowing them to play with their friends, and I get it, but I agree with you because, pretty much like I was reading a while back, and I don't have the exact number, but whether it's 200% or 300% with a number, Tommy John surgeries in Major League Baseball have gone up in the last 25 years, ridiculous amounts. Well, why? Because kids at 9, 10, 11, 12, even 13 are playing year round. They're wearing their bodies out, right? Now, I've also heard the scenario where, like, we had a group that we worked with, and then they had this whole group. They were really, really good. 6 of the kids got college scholarships for soccer. Only 1 played past their freshman year. They're like, I'm done with this. I played since I was, this age, and they're done with it. They're burned out. So I think it's a good one to kind of pick your spot. All right, let me give you one more. This one is from.
Hold on 1 second, Aaron. Those soccer scholarships are called equivalency sports. I would be willing to bet not one of those child got a full ride.
But right, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right,
I'd
exactly.
be in there.
Yep, no, that's a good point.
Go.
So this is actually from Windsor, which is near where I live. It says, my child is playing sports so much, we are always on the go. Is this a good thing? He plays soccer, basketball, and lacrosse.
Would you be asking me the question if it was a good thing?
Right?
See, you already know the answer. So what we say over and over again, having the family together at the dinner table. We had our kids make dinner. My wife can attest to this. Every Friday night, sometimes we didn't eat till 9 o'clock. They started at 12 and 14. Everything more, again, my second book, Less is More, The Truth About Youth and High School Sports. Let's go with less. And I want to say this to the parent. If everybody is doing this, there's still only a limited amount of scholarships.
Right.
Injuries have quadrupled. Diabetes, suicide, all these negative things are happening. Maybe, just maybe, there is a different path.
Right.
We have doctors, we have surgeons, we have athletic trainers, we have strength and conditioning coaches. This thing where we're going, and sports psychologists, child psychologists, is not healthy for your child.
Right.
And yes, you're right. They are going to fall behind. And yes, they are going to sometimes lose their spot. But what you have is a program where you're having to pay for friends. Just remember that.
I think of it often in my life, in my journey, and I think because I was able to play for the love of the game, truly all the different sports, I still play competitive basketball at over 50 years old, right? Not very well, but I did play. And the thing is that it never got burnt out. It never got to the point where now, if you want me to go shoot, I can still do it. And I love doing it. And so I think what we're talking about is a lifetime journey. So to kind of come back, the best message of this teaching and coaching, really, it sounds like, is to encourage them through as much free play and free expression as possible as they go up through the ages. Obviously, there is more instruction. I'm a camp guy because I believe what the difference between a child that goes to a camp versus right to a league. Leagues are based on competition. Camp is based on instruction, play, fall in love with the game. There's a balance that's there, and there's nothing wrong with leagues. But I think each child is different, but you've set some really good pieces. So let me ask you this last one, and this is actually for me, but how do you suggest now, because wins and losses is a big deal to a lot of people, right? I have people that send me pictures and they've got all these trophies and all this stuff behind them. How would you suggest as a parent to help your child and go through the process dealing with wins and losses? How would you, like, what's the philosophy? Give me a piece of this.
Okay. First of all, nobody knows how to win. Nobody knows how to win in the world. Nobody knows how to win. I can teach you, one of our seminars is the art of coaching leading to a win. Okay. The art of coaching leading to the ability to win. And we call it the Augusta approach. So, and I want to win as much as anybody. I love it. But we're trying to force this, and we're trying to say that winning is the key. I was head coach of college hockey for 21 years. Forget the championships we won. Whenever the players and I get together, we never talk about the championship. We talk about the journey, talk about play. So what people are trying to put, again, it's this immediacy. They're trying to put a value on a victory. Jerry Jones built a $2 billion mausoleum stadium for himself in Dallas and said publicly he would write a check for $1 billion for Super Bowl. So he doesn't know how to win, but there's an art to this coaching. And if we get these people to understand the journey is the victory, not the trophy. The journey is the victory because there's the knowledge. And that's what we're trying to teach children. We're trying to teach them the value of knowledge.
So when Coach Wooden, when I worked with him, he would always say, success is the peace of mind of knowing you've done your very best, right? And say we're there, right? I mean, that's really where we're guiding them. So when you say winning, like Magic Johnson, when I worked with him, and not to name drop a bunch, but he used to say, we win kids. At camp, we win kids. We want them playing and having so much fun that they're developing a passion that they're falling in love with, and we're winning the kids. And I think in a strange way, it all kind of fits together as we're going forward, because ultimately what we're basically saying is to allow it to be the kids' journey, right? And allow them to figure it out through free play, through creative games like you're talking about, rather than just trying to pound it into them, and then they'll figure it out. We just have to trust the process, right? We have to trust the journey.
When you taught your kids how to ride a bike, you started with a tricycle, then the bike with the training wheels, and then two when you held onto the seat. Did you keep holding on to the seat, or did you let them ride by themselves at some point?
My kids were different. It's not fair. My son, I just put on the bike and pushed it, and he figured it out. But he was a lot older because we lived on the hills. But yes, I get the concept. I agree.
When you taught him to drive a car,
you gotta let it go. Drive the car, same thing. Eventually, you gotta
stay in the car. Now, I just want to say one thing to Aaron, to what you said earlier, and again, it's part of the reasons why we're different at Balanced Excellence. These elite travel teams aren't necessarily competitive. They're built to win. That's not competition. I'm going to go back to your basketball analogy for your fans watching. Aaron and I are going to play basketball, and because I'm old and I don't want to do this as much as possible strenuously. So we're going to play side to side, and we're going to play 5-on-5 also because I want to fill up the court. So Aaron loads his team up, and he's up 15 points within the first 5 minutes of this pickup game between us 10 men. At some point on both sides, people start pissing and moaning. What I'm saying, for real true competition, I go to Aaron and I go, Aaron, listen, you give me Dave and Joey, and I'm going to give you Bobby and Billy. And if you're truly competitive, do you know what Aaron says to me, people? He says, right, let's start over. Because that's competition. Building this team so we can win, so we can go to that tournament, that's not competition, okay? That's entitlement. There's a huge difference. You can sit behind it and say, yes, I'm competitive. But when people say, you know, he's just or she's just over competitive, that's a reason to cheat. That's a reason to do things that aren't in the best interest of the kids. That's a reason to not play by the rules. Is that what we want to model?
No. Good. All right. Well, you know what? It feels to me like you and I have some more stuff to talk about, and we're going to definitely have to come back through it and do this. And I'm taking some mental notes, but I've got two new topics I guarantee we're going to dig into the next time we get a chance to talk, because I definitely want to dig deeper. Hey, VJ, if someone wants to reach out to you, I know that you've got balancedexcellence.com, but where would be the best way if it's a coach or a parent, they want more about what you're offering or how to get involved and get engaged, where do they go?
Well, you can email me, vj@balancedexcellence.com. And we have a charity division, as you know, bj@frozenshorts.com. And Frozen Shorts is our charity division. And we do with churches and CYO and Rotary and Kiwanis and all that stuff for all the kids that sit on the bench needlessly during youth sports. So either one of those two emails.
Great.
And listen, my office number is public, 585-743-1020.
Okay. You're the first one that's put your number out there. We'll see if that thing starts ringing out the hook for you.
It's my office. You can, everybody, I mean, the number is everywhere.
Okay, good enough. Fair enough. Well,
And listen, if we're going to do this,
right.
we have to model.
That's right.
So if I don't put that number out there, I'm giving everybody else the excuse, well, then you don't have to play by the rules. You can specialize. You can say, I don't have to do that. I'm different, people.
I'm putting your number out there, baby. We'll make sure you can get a good, if nothing else, I will tell you this, we always get a good laugh. But today I feel like we really, again, getting back to my fundamentals, which is the talk, teach, play, which I think is such an important piece of what we're putting together. I appreciate your time and you making the time with me today. For those that are listening out there, if you want to reach out to me, obviously you can follow us at nationalacademyofathletics.com, find us on Facebook and Instagram, get in touch with us, send us an email at info@naofa.us. That's info@naofa.us. And I remind everybody, please, man, when you teach your kids or you get your kids involved, just remind them to always to play hard and have fun, because that's what it's all about. Appreciate it.
Can I just add one thing?
Please do. Go for it.
We have two sayings at our company. Peace of mind is victory, which made me smile when you were talking about John Wooden. And the other one, as parents and coaches, it's not our job to decide when, how, or even if the light goes on. Our goal should only be flipping the switch.
You're deep, my brother. You're deep. I appreciate it. We'll catch you soon. Thanks, everybody.